So now we move to another Democrat. This is video of Democrat Mayor Muriel Bowser. She is the D.C. mayor, big Democrat. Things are not going very well in D.C. right now. And suddenly she's very upset at the Biden administration because you're not going to believe what's happening in her little city because they keep letting all these illegals in. She's having some problems.
The Washington Post reported last week that homeless shelters in D.C. were filling up. And groups are getting overwhelmed by these buses that the governors of Texas and Arizona are sending here full of migrants. How significant is this influx? How many people?
Well, this is a very significant issue. We have for sure called on the federal government to work across state lines to prevent people from really being tricked into getting on buses. We think they're largely asylum seekers who are going to final destinations that are not Washington, D.C. I worked with the White House to make sure that FEMA provided a grant to a local organization that is providing services to folks. But I fear that they're being tricked into nationwide bus trips when their final destinations are places all over the United States of America.
God, these people, they're so ridiculous. So first off, Democrats basically are for open borders. We'll get to more of that in just a second. They have been tacitly, if not factually, welcoming all of these people. We have actual numbers on it in a moment. And now she's suddenly realizing, oh, when they come here, it's a problem because not in my backyard, because now our homeless shelters are being overrun. I love how she says, we believe that they're asylum seekers. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Everyone all over the world would love to come to the United States for whatever reason they might want to come. They're an asylum seeker. So she's okay as long as we disperse these people all over the place. But fortunately, we have something called federalism. We have these states' rights, and we have competent governors in places like, say, Texas and Arizona, which she mentioned, and Florida. And that's, what do you call that, Gavin Newsom? That's localism. People electing their representatives in their local cities and states to take care of them. So that's exactly, ironically, what's happening here with these red states. They're saying, okay, you get in here, Biden administration isn't going to take care of the border, or you guys are just going to flood us over. What are we going to do? We're going to put them in buses and send them to D.C. And now the Democrat mayor of D.C. is very upset because she's okay with open borders until they show up at her house. Now we got a bit of a problem. But you're going, Dave, this seems like a bit much. It can't be the Joe Biden administration policies that are causing people to come. People that they know they can't just walk into the country. They know that Joe doesn't want people walking right into the country. That's not how things work. Videotape.
We had a chance to talk to some of these migrants from Venezuela, and they are thanking President Biden. Take a listen.
He's a good president with so much help that he's given us. It's been very difficult what's happened to us. Our trip has been very hard. Thank God we're here. We thank you for receiving us and treating us well.
Look at that. Look at all of those tacos wandering over the border. That's Dr. Jill Biden. That's not me. Taco time, and they love Joe Biden because he's telling them to come. And that's what the administration has done. So we got some info here because I know you guys like numbers. I don't want to just throw things at you without any backup information. So RNC Research posted this on Twitter. This is really fascinating. So basically, 207,000 illegal immigrants were apprehended at the border last month. That's June. The most apprehensions in DHS history. Meanwhile, the Biden administration claims that the border is closed. So now, before I show you some other numbers, I'm going to get you some other numbers in just a sec, how that compares to, say, years past. What's interesting here is that if you're apprehending 207,000 people, that's good, right? That means, oh, we are protecting the border. Now, we don't know, this is the key part of this, we don't know actually how many are coming through, but there's plenty of video of it. And now we know in places like D.C., when they bust them in, they're suddenly not happy about it. So it's hard to track the illegals who actually come in, because you're not going to believe this. When they walk in, they don't go, okay, I'm here. Here's all my paperwork. I'm here and I'm illegal. Don't worry about me. I'm going to, I'm going to Sheboygan. So here are some numbers just to give you a little context of how out of control these numbers are. So June of this year, it was 207,000 apprehensions. June of last year, 189,000. Now, here are the key ones. November of 20, it was 43,000. And June of 20, it was 33,000. So this has exploded. The apprehensions have exploded. So what does that mean? The messaging from this administration has sort of been basically come here, right? The messaging from that crazy orange man's administration was do not come. So then less people were inclined to come. So there were way less apprehensions and there were way less people getting through. So even though we don't know the exact numbers on the illegals coming through, but you guys have all seen the videos just wandering through the border. And again, Muriel Bowser is very upset in D.C. because they're sending her to her. They're sending her to her hometown. We know that the numbers are absolutely exploding, and we can completely place the blame at the doorstep of the Democrats on this, right? It was not happening under Trump. It's one of those things. It wasn't happening under Trump, kind of like inflation wasn't happening under Trump, kind of like gas prices weren't going bananas under Trump, kind of like we didn't have a couple crazy wars under Trump, et cetera, et cetera.